Every neighborhood has that one person who believes the HOA has granted them divine authority. Ours at Howard Briggs. If you've never met a man who behaves like a hall monitor for grown adults, imagine a 50-something guy marching around with a clipboard, poking his nose into places nobody invited him, snapping photos of mailboxes, measuring mailbox posts, and acting like he's saving the entire community from collapse. He wasn't a board member. He wasn't even a committee volunteer. He just appointed himself HOA enforcement captain, like it was some kind of superhero role. And last week, he crossed a line Grandpa refused to ignore. Before we jump in, go ahead and comment where you're watching from. This one's wild. It all kicked off at 5:20 a.m. on a foggy Tuesday. I was standing at the kitchen counter, half awake, pouring cereal when I heard a familiar scraping sound outside. Grandpa was already on the porch with his morning tea, rocking gently in his old wooden chair. Without even turning his head, he muttered, "There goes that fool again." Sure enough, Howard was climbing our backyard fence like a raccoon with a mission, gloves on, phone in hand, mumbling something about violations. And what terrible offense was he documenting this time? Grandpa's pepper plants. Apparently, vegetable patches visible from the street threaten community uniformity. Imagine telling an 80-year-old retired mechanic he can't grow peppers because it doesn't match the neighborhood design aesthetic. I wanted to storm out and yell at Howard, but Grandpa just lifted 2 fingers and whispered, "Let a man dig his own hole. Saves you the effort." This wasn't the first incident, either. 2 weeks earlier, Howard had been caught creeping around our shed. Once, he even tugged on the lock, like he expected to uncover illegal fireworks or a secret junkyard. Grandpa tried filing a complaint, but the HOA president, Martha Daly, just shrugged it off. "Oh, Howard is just passionate about the rules," she'd said. Passionate? The man was practically running covert operations. Grandpa wasn't amused. He called the sheriff's office, but because trespassing can get messy without witnesses or clear proof, the deputies advised caution. Catch him in the act and record, they said. Otherwise, it becomes hearsay. That single conversation lit a spark in Grandpa's mind. For the next few days, he lived in the garage. I passed him wrenches, pliers, and wire spools while he sang old blues tunes. On the 4th night, he stepped back from the gate with a satisfied grin. Our wrought iron gate now had a low-voltage electric deterrent. Completely legal, properly installed. Warning signs posted on both sides. Grandpa didn't do anything halfway. Right on cue, early morning mist still hanging in the air, Howard returned. He scaled the fence like he'd rehearsed it all his life, boots scraping against metal. He walked straight toward the gate, ready to take pictures for his imaginary HOA crime reports. Then, snap, the second he grabbed the gate latch, a quick jolt ran through him. He shrieked like someone had stepped on his shadow. He stumbled backward, tripped over his own feet, and rolled onto the grass. Grandpa didn't even blink. He just took a slow sip of tea and murmured, "That's a sound of consequences." Word spread through the neighborhood faster than wildfire. People had seen Howard lurking for months, peering into yards, scolding residents about recycling bins, even photographing kids' bikes. Now everyone finally had something to laugh about. But Howard wasn't done embarrassing himself. By noon, Martha had called an emergency HOA meeting. "Grandpa took me along just to witness the show," he said. Inside, Martha sat at the head of the table looking like royalty, pearls shining under the fluorescent lights. Howard was beside her, arms slung up in a brace he absolutely didn't need. He stood dramatically. "Mr. Walker has installed a dangerous, weaponized fence. He nearly electrocuted me." Grandpa tapped the table, calm as ever. "That's a safety device. Fully permitted. And the warning signs are bigger than your ego." He slid the permit across the table. "Signed. Stamped. Legal." Martha tried her best politician voice. "Well, legal or not, it feels hostile. The HOA can regulate." Grandpa leaned forward. "Regulate? Maybe. Trespass? Never. Your volunteer guard dog has been on my property 3 times. Next time, he can explain himself to a judge." That changed the entire mood of the room. Neighbors who'd been silent suddenly found courage. "He came into my yard, too." He measured my grass without asking. He told me my wind chimes were a disturbance. Howard turned beet red, sinking into his chair. Martha banged her gavel helplessly, her smile cracking. And you'd think he'd stop after that humiliation. But no. For 2 days, Howard circled our block in his rusty SUV, slowing down in front of our driveway, glaring at the gate as if it had personally betrayed him. Then came the breaking point. Near midnight on the 3rd night, I heard faint clinking outside. I peeked through the blinds and saw Howard, flashlight in one hand, bolt cutters in the other. Grandpa was already on the porch, rocking gently, remote in hand. "Watch this," he whispered. Howard clamped the cutters onto the wire. Grandpa clicked the remote. BZZZ, ZAP. Howard's knees buckled, and he dropped straight into a muddy puddle. Grandpa calmly recorded the entire thing, every wobble, every slip, every muddy flop. Howard frantically dialed 911, screaming, "This man tried to kill me." Within minutes, police lights lit up our yard. Officers questioned Grandpa first. "Sir, is there electrical wiring on that gate?" "Yes, sir. Permitted. Marked. Installed correctly. And here's the paperwork." He handed them his phone, too, high-quality video of Howard trespassing and attempting to cut the wire. The officers turned to Howard. "So, you were cutting this gate at midnight?" Howard stammered like a broken engine. I was doing an HOA inspection." "With bolt cutters?" one officer asked. That was the end. Howard was arrested for trespassing, attempted property damage, and false reporting. Neighbors watching from their doorsteps actually clapped. As the cruiser doors shut behind Howard, Grandpa leaned back in his rocking chair and whispered, "Sometimes justice doesn't need a courtroom, just a little electricity." I hope you like MY's story. For more interesting stories, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.